Welcome back, everyone, to Agile Talks Episode 3. This series is where we discuss all things about Agile and learn from industry experts their experience and how they implement Agile practices within their organization. My name is Jeremy, and I'll be the host for this series. Today, I'm delighted to have Dilip Kumar join us as our Agile expert for this episode of Agile Talks. Dileep is a senior Agile coach who is well versed in Agile methodologies and has a deep understanding of how to implement effectively them within an organization to help drive efficiency and success. So, welcome, Dileep. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. So, before we start our discussion, Dileep, can you maybe briefly introduce yourself to the audience and maybe share with us your career journey as an Agile coach as well?
Right. Hi, Jeremy. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, actually. So it's a good pleasure to share about what is my agile journey, actually. So this is the first time I'm sharing it outside of my organization so far, because most of the time these kind of talks doesn't happen like publicly, right? Yeah. So I'm Dileep, actually. So I started as my career as a graphic designer, actually. Almost like 2007, I started my career, and then over the period, I always have curiosity. So like, how can I grow?
Mm,
So when I was having that kind of thoughts, initially I started as in small medium industry, and then I moved to startup industries. So when I moved to
mm,
the startup industries, I become the head of IT and then head of IT support and also head of product and innovation. So that is where I started getting understanding about Agile. That's when I started my Agile journey, actually, because what happens in startup industry is it's startups used to fail, and also some startups will grow rapidly. So I
mhm,
wanted to know what is the reason behind it. Those times there is not Agile, actually. It's like 2015. There is not much of Agile buzz in Asia, but of course
mhm.
it's in US and other Europe countries. It was already implemented, but in Asia it's very new. And I just got to know about the buzzword, and then I started my journey from there to wondering why startup fails. That's where I started my journey into Agile. And from there, I slowly implemented in the startups. And also, I wanted to explore in corporates how are they doing Agile. So then I
Mm,
moved to corporates, and there I joined as a Scrum Master. So basically, from product owner, I shifted to a Scrum Master. And
okay.
then from there, I really realized that my key strength is in people and technology, which is connecting to the transformation. So that's when I become an agile coach, actually.
I see. So I would say that in terms of your agile experience, you have definitely more than 12, 15 years, right, Dilip? And am I right?
Uh, Basically, I mean, what I realized through my journey, what I realized is
Yeah,
like agile is an iterative approach, right? So people
yeah.
tend to think that it's a project management system. It's not, actually. It is an iterative
Mhm,
approach. So what
mhm,
I realized through my journey, it was like almost like after 15 years, I realized the moment I started my graphic designer journey, that time
mhm,
itself I was being agile, because in graphic designing you do use iterative approach, because once you
mm,
design your designs, you'll go and connect with the customer and then get their feedback, and then quickly you have to deliver that. All right, so you will be
mm.
deliver very quickly. So I realized that very lately, like after
I
because
see.
we usually tend to think agile like terminologies, right? But
Yeah,
understanding agile is a mindset. It took me
yeah.
some time to realize that, actually.
So you didn't actually know that you were already practicing agile back when you started as a design, right?
Yes,
I see.
yes.
I see. So Dilip, so like what you mentioned right now, you are of course an agile coach. So just wondering, could you help to explain what is an agile coach or what are the responsibilities of an agile coach?
That's interesting, actually.
Mm,
So it basically it varies based on the organization's nature, right? So first,
okay.
what you needed to understand is like what is the gap they have currently. They are not being agile. So because uh, it's not like you just go and simply implement agile, actually. So it depends on what is the nature of the business. Based on
Mm,
that, you need to understand three important elements. One is business, and then technical and transformation. which
Mm,
area you needed to make an impact actually. So you need to realize that. So that is where a responsibility of an agile coach come into play. In my journey, I'm currently doing all three because
mm,
I'm handling an enterprise level transformation. So there you need to be in all three areas, which is business and technical and also transformation, right? So these three elements, if you guys wanted to know more about it, you can read Lisa Atkins' Coaching Agile Teams book. It will be very helpful for you if you are starting as an Agile coach journey, right?
mm,
And yeah, that's where I started. And yes, now currently a responsibility of an agile coach is like you need to ensure the team is having a value delivery. So team
mm,
understands the value delivery, what is the purpose of the value delivery, and also improve the flow and maintain your quality, right? So these three responsibility I will take up as an agile coach. And also I ensure that all the scrum masters and or agile junior agile coaches, they understand this things actually. So that is my role and responsibility. And currently, as you know, when once you done a transformation for a smaller team, you can do to a larger team as well. Currently, I'm handling almost like 36 agile teams, and it has 12 tribes actually. So that's my current scope of project actually. Sorry, current scope of transformation.
nice, nice. So then, how is it different when you coach, for example, a leadership team like C
Mhm,
level,
mhm,
compared to maybe like line managers and also their direct reports? So
mhm.
obviously, there are two different roles for them, right? They have their own focus area, their objectives, and all that. So, what are the agile topics or knowledge that you will share for these two groups? So, for the
Okay.
C level and then the line managers.
All right. So usually, when it comes to agile, right, your hierarchical level basically becomes horizontal actually.
Okay.
So I mean, if you are using Scrum, we usually call three only. One is a product owner, Scrum Master, or Agile Coach, or development team, right? So only these three hierarchical level. So when it comes to the C level, what we will be usually making them understand why it's important for us to have an agile mindset. So when it comes
Mm,
to the C level, we start with the agile mindset because the mindset is the very key core concept for everything actually. People tend to think that like the processes and tools are important. It's not actually. So important of a mindset is important for the leadership team. So when you instill a mindset in leadership, then it becomes a culture for the entire organization, and then it's easier for you to implement processes, methods, and tools, right? So in
mm,
line manager level, it will be also we will start with mindset, but processes, tools, and methods will be more into line manager. But
mm,
there is no such a thing as like we don't usually call them as a line manager actually, because they supposed to become a leader also, because in agile everyone should be a leader. It's just that the roles and responsibility will be different, because
mm.
line manager, when we call it as a line manager, you are seeing it like an assembly chain, right, where you ensure that everything is in place. But
Yeah.
Agile is totally different, where you have it is not like an industry where you give an input where you're getting the exact same output. No, because here you're going to handle a lot of human behaviors. So the culture is important. So it's not for the line managers. We don't usually call them as a manager. Usually, if
Mm-hmm.
you see, we usually call them as a owners, which is the product owners, or
Yes.
Scrum Master, who is going to be the true leaders who lead
Mm,
the change. So that's the thing. One of my friend also asked me, "Hey, what is the career growth as agile coach?" I told him, uh, "There is no career growth because you already know agile. You are going to be equal to the C level, and the highest growth you can have is like you are in equal to the C level. And the line managers and leadership, they need to become a self-organizing leaders as well. So there is not much control you can have in agile, because it's about the collaboration actually."
okay. Okay. And Dilip, a follow-up question to the first question that I asked you earlier. So you did explain what an agile coach is, right? So what about agile trainer or agile consultant? In your
Mhm.
opinion, are they the same or are they different? If they are different, how are they different?
Okay. Agile trainers,
Yeah.
they basically they only do teaching of Agile. So what is the concepts and how can they run a workshop, and then they only teach like a workshops or something. They will just teach the Agile, and they will come up with their own examples and stuffs, right? So they will
Mm,
already have a set of examples, and then they will teach the what is Agile and stuff. But Agile consultants, they will be journeying with the teams actually, because they are going to work in hand with the team as a
mm,
journey actually. So Agile consultant is a most of like a journey. And again, Agile is not a destination, Agile is a journey. You can never become 100% Agile. You need to like progressively continuously improving. So it's a journey. Agile consultants journey with the uh, organizations or the teams. Yeah.
okay. Thank you so much. So now let's talk about agile transformation, since that is your expertise. Uh, so I understand, you have many experience in terms of how you manage agile transformation projects. So agile transformation projects can sometimes be very different, right, in terms of the scale, the objectives, or the frameworks that you use. But based on your experience, right, how would you describe the general roadmap of an agile transformation? Like, what are the maybe the key, like the important components that would involve in agile transformation?
Um, I would say once size won't fit all. It's
Yeah.
yeah, a journey is like a shoe, right? You cannot fit everything. But in terms of like framework, the first thing what we needed to understand is like what is the level of impact you are about to make in the organization actually. Because
Mm-hmm.
as a agile consultant, when you go to an organization, you may never know whether you're going to impact, as you said, like you're going to impact the C level leadership, or you're going to impact the manager levels, right? So first you needed to understand, are you going to impact the individual? Or are you going to impact the teams? Are you going to impact a program? Or are you going to impact portfolio or
Mm,
enterprise level? So first you needed to understand which level you are going to impact actually. So that is the most important element actually. So understand which level you needed to make the transformation. And the
yeah.
next step, understand the organization, I mean the particular team or a program which you are going to go and work with. Understand in a Tuckman's model, right? Yeah, in Tuckman's model where you have like a
Yeah.
forming, storming, norming, and performing. Try to recognize by yourself first, where are they, where you feel their team is, and then
Mm-hmm.
we can make an assessment of the team based on the current ways of working, right? So
Mm,
I won't usually say that we just go and okay, this is the formula, step one, step two, step three. We won't do that. First, try to understand where are the teams are currently and what is the gap. Is there a gap in a important core components are the product backlog? Ensure that product backlog is there, and then ensure that team understand what is user stories, right? So what is user
yeah.
stories, and the user story point estimation is important. And then ensure the velocity, so the teams understand the velocity, and ensure the teams understand how to manage their capacity and burn down chart. So these are the key core components I will be implementing if it's a small transformation, right? But if it is
Mm,
larger organizations, you need to go into SAFe, which is Scaled Agile Framework. That is a bigger level of transformation. If it's a smaller team, this is the key core components actually.
okay. So SAFE is basically like the best practices you would recommend as a guide for, like agile transformation, like a larger scale, is it? SAFE.
Yeah, actually, because I was always wondering, I started working with the startup, right? Initially,
Mm,
if the teams are smaller, the teams will be able to become agile, and then they'll be like more communicative. But when it comes to the larger scale organizations, the teams will be working like silos, and especially the
yeah.
older organizations, you'll have like a uh, I ba- I based, which is like you will have like a it's in-depth knowledge, right? So the marketing will be marketing, and then operations will be operations, and finance will be finance, HR will be HR, right? So
Yeah.
these teams doesn't connect with each other because yes, they do have KPIs, but they don't really connect with each other. So SAFE brings a framework which helps the entire organization to become agile, and
Mm-hmm.
they have best practices and methods,
Mm-hmm.
and it did help actually for my initially. I was also wondering how does this happen when it's larger organizations, right? I'm
Yeah.
so grateful to the coach which I have worked with. Nugi was the one who introduced me to SAFE, and it was a very nice journey. So initially I was also a bit skeptical of how these processes are going to function, but
Mm-hmm.
it does help to align basically product teams and the
Mm-hmm.
solution team is the technical team plus the leadership team. So it has a very nice framework to connect all of them, and it
Yeah.
has most of the solutions are there, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how safe will be very helpful when you are doing a larger transformations.
Then what about like the practices and also events? For example, is it the same as like Scrum? Can you just implement or combine Scrum and also Skill Agile framework?
Interesting question. Actually, Scrum is because Safe is like a overarching all the best practices. If you
Yeah.
see in Safe, you also have a House of Lean, which means Lean principles also inside House of Lean. So Safe is
Mm,
kind of like a larger repository of frameworks. It doesn't only cover one aspect. It covers all the scaled frameworks in Agile, and then they use it in elements where it's helpful actually. So Scrum will be part of the team level. So when it's a team level delivery, Scrum will be there actually part of it, right? And
mhm,
when it comes to the safe, the important event would be like a PI planning event, which means the product increment planning event, which happens every quarter. So it
mm,
has a very nice framework, like a quarterly planning will be there, right? So because that will align the entire organization's vision from the senior C-level leadership, you cascade down to the uh, portfolio level, and portfolio level will be cascading down to the program level. All those
mm,
informations will be transferred, and it's all transparent. So we know from the team level how is it going to impact in the C level as well.
mm. Okay. And Dilip, then based on your many years of experience, right, like leading agile transformation, what are the key challenges you've experienced most of the time in this kind of initiatives?
Key challenge is the mindset, right?
Yeah.
uh, that is the key challenge, I would say actually, because people are really good at processes and tools. Most of the people who I work with, they are really good in processes, and they are really good in tools actually, because I can't really compete with them on that actually, processes and tools. But when it comes to mindset, right,
Yeah.
very challenging is some. So as we always coming from the processes mindset, sometimes our
Mm-hmm.
mindset will be fixed. So we don't really see the other side of it. So other side of, even though if the solution is out there, we tend to justify that, oh, this is the right process to follow so that everything will be fine. No,
Mm,
actually. So if I would have followed my, I was also skeptical actually. I was always say like, oh, Scrum is the best. But then later on, what I realized is that I should see the other side of it, which if anything, which helps in the growth, right? So we need to see that what are the elements we can pick up there, and then put the puzzles like a Lego toy, and then grow from there. So the growth mindset is important. So that is a key core component of being agile. So which means
mm,
I always talk about being agile, right? So
mm,
being agile, sorry, I gotta go. Um, so being agile is nothing but what do you call it? Uh, there is a difference between being agile versus doing agile, right? So
yeah.
being agile comes from the mindset and culture. So doing agile is processes, methods, and tools. When you call it all these frameworks, right? Say all, but being agile is what going to help actually, right? So
Mm,
60% is like your mindset and culture, After that, your doing, which is the processes, methods, and tools, will be helpful actually. So this
Mm,
is the challenge, because mindset can't be taught. Mindset has to be, it comes from the behavior, and also it comes from the personality, right? So what
mm,
I try my best is to create that kind of environment so that the mindset can nurture actually. So the
mm.
challenge would be, mindset will take some time. So that time is where people will be skeptical about it. Oh, you know what, I don't believe that these people are not going to change. So that that kind of mindset, when you're coming from that kind of mindset, there is no, you're not ready to become agile, you are always wanted to do agile.
So Dilip, earlier you did mention about like one of the key challenges is like mindset, right? So we know that changing mindset is difficult. A lot of even we also experience that, right? If things are not broken, why bother fixing it, right? So can you share with us how do you fix kind of mindset? How do you help change that kind of mindset?
That's the thing, right? So usually, first, I don't go with the mindset that I'm going to fix something, because if
Mm,
you go with the mindset that I'm going to fix or I'm going to change something, it's not going to help people in the mindset, and the people will not be open to accept that, because people want to be understood, and people wanted to empathize with them first, right? So in
yeah.
order for you to start with that mindset shift, first you need to understand what is their current state and understand their desired state. So first understand that gap actually. And
Mm,
sometimes the challenge should be the desired state, they might limit themselves. So I will try to challenge them with the questions which opens up the possibilities of the desired state, and then they will start seeing the desired state actually. They will start wondering, hey, how is it even possible? So when it comes to the larger organizations, what I will first recommend with the leadership team is like, why can't you give me a smaller team?
yeah.
We try to work on the mindset with that team first. So we will make a shift in that, like 2 to 3 months, we will be able to produce a lot of result, and that will be rightly aligned with the strategic vision. So then people will be start understanding the usage of it, right? And also
Mm,
you cannot do the mindset shift in within like 1 week or one
yeah,
sprint. You
definitely.
need at least minimum 6 months actually. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So what you're saying is that you can't actually force change, right? What you can do the best is that facilitate the process of change, right?
Yes. Yes.
I see. Okay. Okay. So Dilip, then we've come to our last question, which is usually the question I always ask our Agile experts. So for the audience who would like to learn more about Agile, what is your advice for them? How should they get started, or what kind of training, or are there any certifications that you would recommend for them?
All right. Again, it goes back to my first answer of the beginning of the question, right? So first
Hmm.
understand which level of impact you wanted to make, and understand which is your area of expertise, right? Because in Agile, there's three pillars, as I mentioned, like a business, technical, and transformation. So choose which area you want to first make an impact. No, you don't limit yourself saying that I'm going to only make this impact. No, you will be eventually doing all three. First,
Yeah.
understand which area is your first passion. Go for that area first, and then start making the impact. During the process, also be open to learn other transformations as well, and go for that. And first, I would really recommend the Lisa Atkins model actually.
Mm-hmm.
So start with that actually. She has a very nice framework where you have like you question me beginning, right? Like teaching versus coaching. So teaching,
Yeah.
coaching, and mentoring and facilitating. All these four elements is needed for an agile coach actually, right? And
Mm,
the three pillars you're going to impact is business, technical, and transformation. So this one, and then the on top will come as an agile mindset, right? So you
mm-hmm.
understand which area you feel that you are lacking, and
Mm-hmm.
then choose your learning path based on that. I mean, rate yourself 0 to 10, which areas you needed, and then each area try to go and learn the certifications. I mean, certifications wise, there are a lot of certifications out there, but
Yeah.
the important impact which made in me is the safe certification and also IC Agile certifications, because in IC Agile you will be able to interact with the coaches, and
Mm.
you will be basically like just now you were asking questions, you can ask questions and then you can
Yeah.
explore how it can be done. And I'm not marketing it because I'm an IC Agile coach, but it did help me actually. It did help me. Yes, I do coach on Agile fundamentals and Agile product management actually.
Mm.
So it does make an impact, because I did IC Agile facilitation certification, also
Okay.
IC Agile product management and the IC Agile fundamentals, and also SAFe, and
Mm.
obviously Scrum and CSPO also good from Scrum Alliance. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also really good,
Mm.
because the Scrum Alliance has a way of doing the interactive session as well. So always learn the interactive sessions is important. Always
Mm.
be open for learning. And important element, people tend to say like, oh, you need to learn more, right? But first try to use the frameworks you already know, rather than going and learning more and more framework.
Mm.
Try to become mastery which what you have learned, because what I see in the current industry, the trend is like, oh, you need more certifications to do these transformations. It's not really true. Even if you have like 3 4 certifications, if you know which level you're going to make an impact, and what kind of change you want, transformation you would like to make in an organization, understand your desire first, and also understand the organization's desire, also the vision also, and try to align both visions together. So that's the key takeaway I learned through my journey.
Okay. So with that, Dilip, thank you so much once again for joining us today. Yep. Any last, any things you want to share with the audience before we end this episode?
Probably I would just say that focus on being agile. I mean, it's harder to being agile, because one important element is about like no blame culture is important. So that
Yeah.
is where it all started me, and that's what gave me a lot of growth. And probably I would just like to give a gratitude to all my coaches. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so my coaches like Mark, and then Ashish, Nugi, Sherry, and Lisa Atkins. They are the major coaches, and also as important as coaches, the product owners also important. So Sharon, Alberto, Luis, Claudio, Ajay, Aisha, and all these product owners also was very helpful to me. And my co-scrum masters, Camila, Diego, Vera, Amir, Shuyan, Vikas, Lakshmi, and they are also was very helpful in my agile learning journey. And my
Mm-hmm.
friends, importantly, my friends who are being agile, who's always like question my thinking. Tara, Vivek, Mangala, Shobha, Subaru, and my team members currently. So they are all very helpful, and they started uh, engaging them within the transformation. That was very helpful for me to see the transformation actually, that helped motivation to me as well. And yeah, and lastly, grateful to you for this opportunity as well,
You're
and
most
thank you so
welcome.
much.